Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. Every week we showcase animals that are at the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. These are animals that are looking for homes that are available for adoption. I'm Linda Shea. With me is Randy Cooper. And the first available dog we're going to take a look at is Fluffy. Fluffy is about 18 months old. He is a lab mix, and we were just admiring his curly tail and trying to figure out what the rest of his mix might be. But he's 18 months old. He was turned in by an owner. Every year we take in about, last year it was just under 5,000 animals, and about half of those animals are owned, half are found as stray or brought in by officers. So this year Fluffy will fall into that previously owned category, and he was turned in because someone in the family developed allergies after having him for the amount of time that they did. So he's with us now. We do have a behavior assessment that we perform on all of our dogs, and we do have him suggested as adult home or older children only, and it's just because he's a little ill-mannered. He needs some work on walking on a leash, needs some work with interacting with other dogs, but other than that, you know, if you've had experience with dogs, that's certainly up for discussion, and it's case-by-case basis on how we decide where animals are placed. But Fluffy is, as you can see, he's very agreeable to being pet, to being on the floor. He does know some commands. One of the commands he knows is lay down, which he's demonstrating beautifully. He is a little deceptive in weight. He's about 60 pounds. I would have guessed less, but about 60 pounds solid and good health overall. He's already microchipped prior to leaving here. He'll be neutered, and he will be just ready to go. So if you're interested in a dog like this, if you've got some time to work on manners training and some time to make sure you include an exercise plan, Fluffy would be a good choice for your family. Goodness. This little girl is absolutely adorable. This is Chloe, also known as Coco. She's just about a year old, so she's younger as well. A lot of folks come in here and they want a puppy. And puppies at 8 to 10 weeks old are adorable, but they also have a long ways to go as far as socialization and manners and house training. When you get a dog that's this age, they are beyond some of the damaging era of chewing on furniture and house training. So there's definitely a plus to looking for and adopting an older, younger dog. But Chloe came to us from someone who, I guess the dog that she had in her family already did not get along with Chloe, and Chloe has had a number of families in her short one-year life. She was just being passed around from family to family. One of the things that we strive for in our adoption process, we do an adoption interview, we do some pre-screening on paperwork. Our goal is to place animals into homes where that will be their last stop. There's nothing worse than having an animal that's been passed around to so many homes. Some animals are very resilient and they are fine with that. But overall, animals are deserving of consistency, and dogs typically do better with a consistent lifestyle, a consistent home environment, and that just reduces the level of anxiety that they can exhibit if their day switches and their family switches every so often. But Chloe is definitely affectionate. You can see she's very well mannered. She's not camera shy at all, very social with people. We do have her also recommended for older children, adult home only, and when we designate those things, they are just suggestions. And the reason behind the suggestions, we are happy to tell you as staff members or volunteers. With Chloe, she does pull hard on the leash because she did have interaction with another dog in another family that didn't go well. You just want to be aware if you have another dog that you're interested in adopting or adopting Chloe, you want to bring your existing dog in just to do a meet and greet to get an idea of how they might get along. But Chloe is available for adoption. She is already spayed and microchipped, so her adoption process would be a little more expedited than if she needed to wait to get spayed. So this little guy is Christopher. This week at the shelter, if you haven't figured it out, we only have a couple of dogs that don't have adoption applications, and those are the two that we just looked at. So that's a good thing. But on the other hand, we still have plenty of cats as typical. And Christopher is one of them. Christopher is about 10 to 12 months old. He was originally turned in as a stray, and then about a week later, someone came forward and said, He's really not a stray. I had been caring for him for a while, so I do know some information that might be helpful in placing him for adoption. So that is always very helpful. The more information we know about an animal, the more likely they are to be placed in a good situation, only because when you're able to offer some information on their personality, their temperament, what situation they've lived in, if they've lived with small children, other pets, that helps potential adopters understand that animal a little bit better. So the more information, the better. If you do find a stray, of course, you can own that as a stray. But if you have cared for an animal for any length of time, even if it's only for a couple of days that you've had them in your family, it helps to know what food they're used to, and again, that interaction with family members. So Christopher is here. He is a gorgeous domestic shorthair, very young. He has already been neutered, microchipped, current on vaccines, so he would also be another cat that would be sort of an expedited adoption, because all of that is done. Every animal that leaves here, dogs, cats, and bunnies, all get neutered prior to leaving here, and that is part of the adoption fee. The adoption fee for cats and kittens that are under 5 years old is $97.50, and that covers getting them altered, getting them microchipped and registered, having them current on vaccines, including a rabies vaccine, county license, preventatives, and any medical care and treatment that we provide while they're in the shelter. So that $97.50 certainly covers a lot. At 10 to 12 months old, Christopher is young. Cats can live an average of 15 years. So if you are interested in bypassing the younger kitten stage, just kind of the younger puppy stage, Christopher would be a good choice for your family. This little girl is Vicky. She came to us as a stray from Waterford Drive in Frederick. She'd been hanging around the neighborhood for a while. She's about 4 to 5 months old. So when strays come into the shelter, the typical process when animals come into the shelter is that we give them a cursory overall look and make sure that they're in good health and good condition. And then we provide preventatives, as far as we provide vaccines, we provide deworming, flea and tick prevention. And then we make note if there's anything that our veterinarian needs to look at. We have right now a part-time veterinarian for the shelter. She's here 12 hours a week, and considering the volume of animals that we take in every day, that cuts it a little close. So if we have animals that she's unable to see by way of time, we send them out to local veterinarians, and we are always very appreciative of the local veterinarians in the Frederick community that help us examine these animals, provide preventatives, sometimes do diagnostics, x-rays, and so forth, to provide us a medical history on every animal that comes in. And that helps you as a potential adopter know as much as you can about an animal prior to adopting. If you are ever interested in adopting an animal that has health issues, we encourage you to get a copy of their medical and then discuss that with your personal vet to see if it's reasonable for you to adopt an animal that may need some extra cost involved in maintaining their health. But Vicky is at the moment extremely healthy and very young, 4 to 5 months old, very affectionate, very sweet. We did test her for feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus, and she was negative on both of those. And as you can tell, she's just your average kitten. She's easy to handle, very affectionate, not the least bit camera shy, and very curious.
She came in with Kimmy.
This handsome guy is named Linus. He's about 4 to 5 years old, and he is a shelter favorite among our staff and volunteers. Very, very sweet boy. Came to us, person relinquished him as she was moving and could only keep a couple of her cats, and the rest were turned into the shelter. So, but this is Linus. He is adorable. If you can't tell, maybe with a close-up you can. He is missing his right eye. In his previous home, he was allowed to go indoor and outdoor, and about 1.5 years ago, he came back home from being outside with an injury to the right eye. So his right eye was removed at that point, and that's why he's missing it. Other than that, he's overall very healthy. He's already neutered prior to leaving here. He will be microchipped, so in the event he wanders away again, he can easily be returned to his family. We do prefer and recommend, if you are adopting from the shelter, our preference is always to adopt cats to live indoors, and Linus is a good example of why. When you allow cats to roam outside, They become vulnerable to predators, to injury, to illness that they are not exposed to inside your home. They also can create a problem if you've got neighbors that don't want pets or cats on their property, and then if you've got folks that are interested in preserving any kind of wildlife or birds, then the cats can create an issue. So you have to be cognizant of that. There also is an ordinance in Frederick County that animals of any species cannot run at large. If you have pets of any species, they need to be maintained on your property. As the pet owner, it's your responsibility to make sure that your pets stay on your property. You can have a conversation with your neighbors, as far as discouraging your pets from going onto their property, but it really is your responsibility. And as animal control, we are tasked with making sure that that's done and enforced. But Linus here is available for adoption, and even though he has outdoor experience, we want him to go to an indoor home. Just missing that right eye is more evidence that that's a better choice for him. So he's very sweet, very affectionate, and you can see not camera shy and just comfortable on a lap. So if you're looking for a cat like this, you want to come and visit him at the shelter. We're going to go ahead and take a short break now. Stay tuned. We will be back with 5 more of our feline friends that are looking for adoptive families.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Seniors stay active and engaged in the community while making new friends by participating in events at Frederick County Senior Centers. Each of the 4 centers provide a variety of educational, health, fitness, and recreational activities, as well as resources to help area seniors maintain their wellness and independence. Nutritious congregate meals are offered daily for contributions of up to $5, and limited transportation services are provided for seniors 60 and older. Advanced registration is required for both of these services. Contact your local senior center for specific information about the programs and services offered in your area.
Are you a fan of Facebook? Hooked on Twitter? Now you can stay connected to County Executive Jan Gardner using your favorite social media platforms. Like, follow, and subscribe today.
This fella is named Bo. He was turned in by an owner. She had found him about 10 days prior to turning him in as a stray. She did the right thing. She kept him for a few days, took him to the vet, got him a rabies vaccine, and then could not keep him. Bo is one of our more active cats on the floor, and he's certainly big. He's not fat, he's big. He's 14 pounds and just very long in body length. In overall good condition. He's already microchipped. When he arrived here, we made sure that he had all the preventative vaccines and deworming and flea and tick prevention that he needed. He's just about 3 to 4 years old. He's gorgeous white with that brown tabby markings, and again, very active. Some cats are very placid, and as we saw with Linus, just likes to sit in your lap. Bo would much rather be carousing around the home, looking to explore, so he would be a good cat if you've got an indoor cat tree, little boxes or things that he can climb into, crawl into, climb on top of. He would definitely enjoy that. At 3 to 4 years old, still very, very active. So cats can live an average of 15 years. I don't expect this fella to slow down anytime soon, given just his overall demeanor. and interest, and you can just tell from his expression he is very interested in what's going on around him. So again, this is Bo. If you've got a home and you've got some places that could use a cat climbing on top of or getting into or hiding, Bo would be an excellent choice for your family. This little guy is Sammy. He is adorable. He's 2 years old, but very petite. He's only 7 pounds, so he's half the size of the cat that we just took a look at. Sammy came to us previously owned, originally found as a stray, and the person who found him took him in for about 8 months, and then they moved to a home that didn't allow pets. So that's how Sammy came to be with us. And I know a lot of times the stories sound repetitive, and the top reasons that animals are turned into the shelter, allergies, either the owner or somebody in the family develops allergies, and then moving. And all we can do is encourage folks, if you're moving, you want to plan ahead. And if you're moving to some place that doesn't allow pets, you may want to reconsider, although we understand that sometimes the requirements to rent, if you have a pet, can be cost prohibitive. Either by month it can be an extra cost or just an overall addition to your rent. But Sammy's here now. He is sweet, he's affectionate, he's very well mannered. If you're ever considering adopting a cat from the shelter, I encourage you, even though you may not see something on Pet Pals that you're interested in, come into the shelter and interact. It's a whole different world to actually come to the shelter and visit with a cat, especially here, face to face, as opposed to what you're seeing on TV. Every one of them has a different look to them, a different temperament, different personality. Some will reach out through the bars at you as you're walking by, and that usually is a good indicator that they're interested, at least in interacting. So I really encourage that. And I know some people are reluctant if you've had a poor experience in other shelters, a bad experience. We're different than a lot of shelters, so I really, really encourage you to come and visit. I've been to many shelters all over the country, in different countries as well, and I obviously think we are the best. So I encourage you to come in and check that out. But this is Sammy, again, 2 years old. He is absolutely adorable. So if you're looking for a gray tabby to add to your family, he'd be a good choice. Chloe is doing an amazing job this morning. Often she's a little bit shy with strangers, a little bit shy interacting. She's been here since mid-December, came to us previously owned. She's about 4 to 5 years old, and the reason she was turned in is because her family was moving. So again, that's another common reason. It's not a good reason, it's not a good excuse, but that is just factual, that when people move, they tend to not consider what they're going to do with their pets. We are an open admission shelter. We are 100% county tax funded, so your tax dollars allow us to do the work that we do, but we should just be considered as a last resort if you need to relinquish your personal pet. But this is Chloe. She is current on vaccines. She's already spayed. She'll be microchipped prior to leaving here. As with all of our adoptable cats, we tested her for feline leukemia, feline immunodeficiency virus. She was negative on both of those. She does have a birth date of May the 2nd, 2011. So again, if you have a pet, the more information that we know and that we can provide to potential adopters, the more likely we are for everybody just to make a good decision in placement, because that's important. Some people prefer to adopt older pets, and that helps if we have an actual birth date. Let's see. Looking on her profile from her owner, she did have medical care prior to coming here. They'd had her for 4.5 years since birth. I guess before Chloe was born, her mother kind of moved into this house and delivered kittens, and Chloe was one of those kittens, and that's how she ended up with her original family. But Chloe, again, is a little bit shy if you are cat savvy. If you like big cats, she is 13 pounds, 12 ounces, could use a little bit of trimming down, and the best way to do that with cats is start by measuring their food. So often people just top off that food bowl a couple times a day and let the cats graze, and that leads to them being overweight. But again, Chloe is a great choice. She's been here since mid-December. We don't have a time limit on how long animals can stay in our shelter, but we do know that she's probably ready by now to be in a forever family. This little guy is named Otis, came to us as a stray. He was found, I guess, on Tawney Avenue in the laundry room. There's a senior citizens building there, and that's where he was found. So came to the shelter. He's about 2 to 3 years old. Unfortunately, with stray animals, we don't have a lot of background on them. We can tell you, though, what we've observed since they've been here. Otis came in just before Christmas. He is color-coded green. We do color-code all of our animals, and green are the ones that are a little more shy, a little more reserved, may need a little more time period to adjust to a family, or if you've never had cats before, he's not your typical personality. We'll just need some extra time to adjust to any home. He's about 9 pounds. He's fully grown at 2 to 3 years of age, already neutered. We've brought him up to speed on vaccines and preventatives. And we do have, as I said before, we do have a vet that's here only 12 hours a week. So for the volume of animals, for example, today in the shelter we have about 80 animals. Our 12-hour per week, she can get through a lot of those animals, but sometimes not every animal will be able to see the veterinarian. But in this case, Otis did. He's got a little chipped tooth. We're not sure what happened previously, but that's not any worse for the wear. But he's beautiful, cream tabby with white. So again, with every recommendation of every pet is that you come in and meet them one-on-one to see if their personality, their temperament, and of course their looks are what you're looking for. The last cat that we're going to take a look at is this little girl. This is Monique. And if you're not familiar with Pet Pals, typically we will come across a shelter favorite, and this week Monique is our shelter favorite. She is wonderful. She's a little over 10 years old. Her birthday, she turned 10 back in November. So she's a little beyond 10 years old. When she first came into the shelter, we had limited information. An owner turned her in due to allergies in the family, and they claimed to have had her for 8 years. So we were estimating her age to be about 8. And then once we followed up and found some vet records from her previous owner, we realized that she does have a birth date in November of 2005. So she does qualify for our very senior adoption discount, $40 off the $97.50, which is typical. She has a great temperament, great personality. If you're looking for a lap cat, I would pick Monique. I think she has a great personality. She's very sweet. She's very agreeable to being handled. She's got a lovely face. It reminds me of a Bombay breed, just the roundness and her big round eyes. She's very petite. She's only about 8 pounds, which is kind of average size for a cat of her structure. She's overall very healthy. She's already microchipped, already spayed, would make for a fairly expedited adoption process. And sometimes our older pets get overlooked. People worry about how long they're going to live, and they want something to grow up with the kids. But even if you do have kids in your family, maybe not toddlers, but younger children, wouldn't it be nice to have them doing their homework and having a cat like this just nestle close by on the couch, or even sit in your lap if you're more sedentary and do a lot of TV watching? Monique would be a great companion for that sort of activity. She's just very relaxed, very low-key, very gentle in personality. So despite her age, 10 is not old for a cat. Cats can live an average of 15 years, but if they're maintained indoors, if they're kept up to speed on a vet visit at least once a year just to make sure everything is working properly, they can live way past 15. But this is Monique. I believe she's the oldest cat, maybe the oldest pet we have in the shelter this week. So if you're looking for an older senior pet to include in your family, she would be a great choice. And that wraps it up for this week's Pet Pals. We are always glad that you can join us to kind of view just some of the pets that we have looking for forever homes. As I said earlier, we've got about 80 total animals in our shelter that are looking to be adopted. So in your travels over the weekend or through the week, you want to make sure that you check out your local animal shelter, which is us, Frederick County Animal Control. Thanks for watching this week. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time on Pet Pals.